Hey, happy midweek, everybody. How is the book of Mark going? We are in the book of Mark, the Gospel of Mark this week as we have entered into the New Testament. As we talked about last week, we are so excited about that. It's been a long 8 months in the Old Testament. Moving into the New Testament feels really good. Kind of a fresh start for the fall, which is awesome. Hey, by the way, before I get too far into this message, make sure if you're having trouble downloading that app or setting the date or anything like that, you always can reach out. You can shoot me an email, you can call me up, you can grab me on a Sunday, and I can really help you do that. We want to make sure that if you want to start in this process and finish out the year with us to get through the Bible in 1 year, that we provide you the opportunity to do that. And we love to do it as a community, and that is what we're doing. And as I mentioned, we are in the book of Mark this week. And actually, we just finished a whole series of the book of Mark this past summer. So if you missed any of that, as you're reading this week, you can go back to the website, and under media, you can click on media, and there's a drop-down menu there, and you can find past messages, and you'll find it right there. You click on the Mark series, and you can pick any one, and you can kind of learn a little bit more in depth about what you're reading this week. But also, I want to point out to you that with the Bible Project, there are tons and tons of videos out there that break down the information that you're reading as well. You can go over to YouTube and you can just Google, or you can put in the little search, the Gospel of Mark, and up will come a couple of different Bible Project messages that can kind of break down, like I said, the book of Mark, but also there's this overarching theme that we addressed this summer, which was the kingdom of God is at hand. There is a video for that too, because I don't know about you guys, but this overarching concept, it's kind of a deep one. The kingdom of God is at hand. If I break that down, I know what every single one of those words mean, and my brain wants to make sense of it, and I do okay with that. But as it settles into the core of me, I actually have a really hard time making sense of it. What does that even mean? In the book of Mark, there's a parable that actually helps make this concept of thy kingdom come, or God's kingdom coming here on earth now, make a little bit more sense to me. It's the parable of the seed and the sower. That parable really helps me kind of grasp a little bit more about this idea of it matters what's going on inside of me as God's kingdom comes and does his work inside, and then what comes out of me. In the parable that Jesus is talking about here, he essentially is saying, like, these seeds can be planted anywhere, right? They can be planted on rocky soil. They can be planted on soil that has other things growing that might choke out what is trying to grow. Or they can be planted in fertile and life-giving soil where the seed has a chance to really sprout up and dig its roots nice and deep. To me, that makes sense. That helps me really make sense of this concept of God's kingdom come. As God does his work inside of me, it's planted in my soil. How does my soil look, right? It can be varying from day to day. Sometimes it's pretty great, sometimes it's not so great, and ultimately there's nothing I can do about that soil except go before the Father. But then also what really, really matters is what comes out of me based on the soil and the growth that's happening in there and how I interact with you and those around me. That really, really matters. So I feel like that's kind of the overarching theme of the book of Mark. Jesus, of course, was this. This was predicted that Jesus was going to ultimately be this perfect, thy kingdom come, God's kingdom come on earth, walking around with hands and feet, serving and loving and teaching us the best way to live our lives. So when we read the book of Mark, we get a good example of that. We get a good depiction of the way to live our life, just like Jesus. So hang in there, you guys, keep reading. And as I mentioned last week, also, we have signups available for the Wednesday night dinner and groups. And if you're reading the Bible Project, you can sign up for that group and you can continue to have a discussion about what you're reading each and every week. That's an awesome way to dig our roots down nice and deep and get our soil nice and healthy so that lots and lots of good growth can come out of us. That's it for me, you guys. Have a blessed week. We'll see you next week.